Blake. Lively just took another major L in court, but hold up. This legal battle is getting wilder by the second. She came in swinging, demanding Justin Baldoni's private phone records, but the judge shut it down real quick. And now, the internet is turning on her fast. So, is this the final nail in Blake's case, or is there another plot twist waiting to drop? Buckle up, because this drama is far from over. Let's break it all down. Judge Lewis Lineman has technically given Blake Lively a small win, but hold up, this is no flex. Why? Because some of her demands got shut down so fast, it was like a scene getting cut, a total anomaly. And the ones that did get approved barely moved the needle, but even a small win can serve as a catalyst for change. So is Blake about to reshape the narrative? Could this be a pivotal twist for Justin Baldoni? Let's dive into it.
Her attorney said that we should get those by the end of next week. And now, of course, from Justin Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, we heard a little bit about their plan, too. He talked about how they want this case moving forward as quickly as possible.
I know I've said that Blake has some leverage over Baldoni right now, but hold up. The same court just denied yet another one of her audacious attempts to pin down Baldoni, by fire, by force, just as she's been orchestrating all along. And let's just say her PR machine might need damage control after this one. See, this ruling didn't just alter the trajectory of her case, it exposed the fragility of her so-called receipts. She's been making bold assertions about workplace misconduct and a coordinated takedown, but when it comes to presenting substantive proof, let's just say it's not looking good. And, as always, the digital discourse, the media ecosystem, and even her former A-list allies have turned her into a viral spectacle. But wait, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's backtrack and contextualize this legal storm from the beginning. The Subpoena saga. A few weeks ago, the It Ends With Us drama took a turn nobody foresaw when, out of nowhere, Blake's legal team escalated things, demanding full access to Baldoni's digital footprint, texts, emails, carrier pigeons, the whole thing. Not only that, the subpoena also demanded call logs and correspondence between Baldoni, his PR team, and key stakeholders at Wayfarer Studios. Her lawyers, Scott Lee and Ezra Hudson, told people that Lively filed subpoenas to expose the tactics and entities allegedly working to dismantle her credibility. So, essentially, Blake's camp swears up and down that the tide turning against her is a meticulously engineered Baldoni plot. Every polarizing headline, every snarky tweet, even those unflattering TikToks dragging her performance, they claim it was all orchestrated.
I defend Justin Baldoni in this lawsuit with Blake Lively because I think she's horrible and she's made up this whole thing because she tried to steal his movie. But he is the most overly feminized man I've had to endure in recent history. Everything he says is self-flagellating over the fact.
Now, if you're thinking, okay, but where's the hard evidence? Same. That's exactly what the court pressed her team on. But instead of dropping compelling receipts, Blake's legal squad essentially said, well, we don't have the proof yet, but we're pretty sure it's somewhere in Justin's phone. The court's verdict? A resounding no. And that's how we ended up here, with Blake grasping for straws. Meanwhile, Justin's team was unbothered, basically saying, we have nothing to conceal. In response to the aggressive subpoena, Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, told people that while such requests are standard in litigation, this one was excessive. He pointed out that Lively's team was demanding an exhaustive data extraction from the past 2.5 years, without constraints on sender, recipient, or subject matter. This wasn't just a subpoena. It was a blatant fishing expedition, highlighting their desperation for anything that might prop up their precarious claims. And this is where the tide started turning. The moment people picked up on the inconsistencies, the dominoes began crashing down. Blake thought she had a strategic advantage, until Baldoni's team dropped a bombshell website loaded with counter-evidence. Fast forward to the court ruling, and boom, headlines everywhere. US court denies Blake Lively's request. So now the million-dollar question, is this game over for Blake, or is there another twist ahead? Let's unravel it. Blake's win, more like a consolation prize. While the court rejected Blake's intrusive demands, it did permit restricted access to some select data points. Specifically, she can access identities and contact details of certain individuals, but only through limited, pre-approved legal pathways. So, did Blake technically win something? Yes, but is it the victory she envisioned? Not even close. See, the thing about Blake, she doesn't do halfway, it's all or nothing, and when the court offered a fraction instead of full disclosure, she wasn't exactly throwing confetti. Blake's team is in full-blown damage control mode. Following the ruling, Lively's reps attempted to spin the narrative, claiming that Baldoni rushed to obstruct disclosure the moment he caught wind of the subpoena. But let's be real, that's revisionist history. The court itself determined what was justified and what was invasive. End of story. And as for her legal team refining their approach for another round of subpoenas, yeah, people are calling that a fancy way of admitting they botched it the first time. Meanwhile, Team Baldoni, unbothered. On the flip side, Baldoni's attorney, Brian Fredman, welcomed the decision, emphasizing that it safeguarded his client's fundamental right to privacy. Fredman did not mince words, calling Lively's legal maneuvers a transparent attempt to excavate dirt, where none exists. Blake's control. Over the narrative, slipping fast. Blake was so convinced she could orchestrate the entire media cycle, leveraging the New York Times to discredit Baldoni. But now that the script has flipped, she's in full scramble mode, resorting to legal intimidation tactics against content creators. Content creators are Blake's new target? Yep, things have deteriorated to the point where Blake is now actively trying to suppress online discourse. Her legal team is petitioning for a protective order, claiming that digital creators echoing Baldoni's stance are perpetuating misinformation. But let's not ignore the irony. Blake herself leaked private messages to the media before this case was even official. Now, suddenly, she's pro-privacy. Make it make sense. The internet isn't buying Blake's narrative anymore. Let's be real. Content creators aren't the problem. The problem is Blake underestimated how fast a narrative can unravel when public opinion turns against you. And speaking of villains, let's talk about the wildest coincidence ever. The A Simple Favor 2 trailer just dropped. And guess what? Blake is playing the villain. I mean, tell me why the timing is so eerily poetic. She's being called one in real life, and now she's literally portraying one on screen. You can't script this level of irony. Oh, and the kicker. They disabled the YouTube comments. That's all you need to know. So what's next? Is Blake's Hollywood image salvageable? Or has this legal debacle permanently altered public perception? Drop your thoughts below, because this entire saga has me on the edge of my seat. And don't even think about clicking away. The next story, you are not ready. Stay tuned.